Hello everybody, it's Kate the West Coast Paper Crafter tuning in live on Facebook. If you're catching this live, it is Monday, December 22nd, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Now you may be catching this as a replay on Facebook or YouTube, so it might not be Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. But if you're catching me live, that's what time it is. All right, for those of you who don't know me, I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator on Vancouver Island in Canada, and I like to go live Monday and Thursday evenings with a little bit of card making happening in my spare room, which normally is an extremely cluttered, messy craft space. But today, I've got the bed cleaned off, mostly cleaned off, because we have company coming tomorrow, so I will not be going live on Thursday during the holidays because my craft room is actually going to be what it was meant for in the first place, which is a spare room. But tonight I can still use it. So let's get going. I'm going to show you a really simple fun fold tonight. I will be using the True Blue Florals Designer Series paper from Stampin' Up!, which is the December product of the month currently. Now, if you don't have that paper, that's okay. You're going to use whatever you have in your stash. Hello, Jeanette. I'm going to flip the camera around and we're going to get going. All right, first off, I'm going to show you all the things that I am using tonight in my project. So I brought in the Abundant Joy dies. This was a little paper pumpkin add-on from the last 3 months of Paper Pumpkin. So just a tiny little die set, and it has a tag die, the word joy, and then I've got some floral images, this little flower here, and then the leaves, and I guess another set of leaves, and then there's a little sprig. So for tonight's project, I've cut out some of the leaves and the flowers in Balmy Blue, Basic White, and Night of Navy. So that is what I use these dies for. Now, if you don't have the Abundant Joy dies, if you have any floral dies, they will work perfectly, or you can always fussy cut. I'll put that back together later. You can always fussy cut some floral images out of paper. All right, I'm also going to be using the Glass and Gardens embossing folder, the floral embossing folder, and I used the Stylish Shapes dies to cut out a circle. I used the Branching Out dies to cut out some frames. I am using the sentiments from my brand new Paper Pumpkin that just showed up on the weekend. It is called Watercolor in Bloom. So the stamps that I'm using tonight are from this set. Now, if you don't get Paper Pumpkins, then you're going to be feeling like you're missing out, because look at how beautiful this set is. I'm going to put that together over the Christmas holidays. All right, and of course, the True Blue Florals pattern paper. All right, that is everything. Let's go over the measurements and then we'll get going. If you're crafting along, you are going to need something to score your cardstock with. All right. Night of Navy. This is 5.5 by 8.5. Basic White. This is 4 by 10.5. And then I've got the True Blue Florals patterned paper. 2 of these are 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. Then I've got a skinny strip that's 3 1/4 by 5 1/4, and another strip that's 3 1/4 by 4. I've got 2 of the Branching Out frame die cuts, both in Night of Navy. These are the first 2 smallest frames in the set. So the smallest and the second smallest. And then I went ahead, I don't know if you can see that. It's dark. I went ahead and I already embossed the smallest frame with the Glass and Gardens embossing folder. So this is super easy to put together. Let's start by doing a little bit of scoring. I'm just going to grab my Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer. Very handy because it cuts and it scores. So, hello Brenda. Thanks for tuning in. Jeanette, Robin, hey buddy. All right, so I'm just going to make sure my cutting blade is out of the way. That's like number one mistake I like to do is accidentally cut when I mean to score. You can pop the blade right out, but I'm feeling lazy tonight, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to like focus and make sure I don't cut. So on the 8.5-inch side, we're going to score this paper twice. The first score is at 2.5. And the second score line is at 4.25. All right, so we have scored at 2 1/8. Did I say 2.5? If I did, I'm sorry. Score at 2 1/8 and 4.25. Make sure that I scored that right. All right, 2 1/8, 4.25 on the 8.5-inch side. All right, and then while we still have our scoring tool out, we're going to grab that piece of basic white that's 4 by 10.5. On the 10.5-inch side, we are going to score at 5.25. All right, so here we go. Basic white on the long side, score it at 5.25. Then we're just going to fold it in half. And then on that piece of night and navy, on the long side, on the 8.5 side, we're going to fold in half on the 4.25-inch score line. I just like to use the lip of my paper trimmer when I fold my card bases in half because it helps me make sure both edges are nice and even. Hello, Leanne. Hello, Tessa. Okay, so now we folded the card base in half and then we've got that 2 1/8 score line. We're just going to fold it back on itself so it meets the fold of the card. And now our card looks like so, right? All right, get this out of the way. And we can put this together. We're going to take these two strips of the pattern paper that are 1 7/8 by 5.25, and we're just going to glue these down in between the score lines. So this is the inside of the card, and then it's going to fold over like so, right? So we've got the left edge of the card. We're going to glue one of these pieces of pattern paper from the left edge to that first score line, and then the second piece of pattern paper is going to be glued down in between both of the score lines. I hope that makes sense. Hello, Susan. Hello, Marion and Donna. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I hope everybody is ready for Christmas. We're not. I mean, gift-wise we are, but grocery shopping-wise we are not. I have to work tomorrow, so my husband he did a little bit of grocery shopping today, but he quickly got overwhelmed because it was so busy. So he is going back in the morning, bright and early, to finish up our grocery shopping, which I'm pretty happy about. And then on Christmas Eve, on my way home from work, I'll just like pick up some fresh dinner buns, and that's all I have to do. Marion says no in all capitals. Marion, I'm guessing you are definitely not ready for Christmas. So, anyways, just a little bit of grocery shopping for us. I feel bad for my husband because he's so tired when he comes back from going into town. He's one of those people that goes through all the aisles when he's shopping. It's exhausting for anybody to go grocery shopping with him, actually, but he doesn't want to miss anything. So he does all the aisles, whether we have a list or not, right? That's his thing. All right. So here we've got the base of our card, the two pieces of pattern paper that are glued down in between those score lines. We still are going to be using these. You know, I'm missing something. Oh, here it is. I also had a circle. This was cut from the Stylish Shapes dies. This is the 1.5-inch diameter circle die. I need that. That's important. That's a very important piece. All right. So now this piece, the basic white, we're going to glue that down to the inside of the card, and that's how we make our little fun fold. So it folds fun like this, right? But then we are adding a little extra fun layer with this piece that's just going to flip up. So the two strips that we have left. You can change it up if you want, if your pattern paper is double-sided. I think I'm going to keep everything the same. So this longer strip that's 3¼ by 5¼ I'm going to glue that down to the very left edge of this. Well, it's like a tent fold card base, but it's just a little bit smaller. Hello, Jennifer from stupid cold Alberta. Oh, that sounds terrible. I'm sorry to hear it's so chilly there. Hello, Kate. My in-laws are coming tomorrow, so they are leaving Red Deer probably pretty early to get to the airport on time. That's another thing. My husband has to go to the airport and pick up his parents. He's going to have a super busy day. Maybe I'm the lucky one because I'm working, hey? Kate says she was at the grocery store at 7 a.m. this morning and she hopes that's the last time that you have to go. I hope it is too. All right, so I've just added some glue to the strip that's 3¼ by 5¼ I am going to add it to the front of this tent fold card base that's just a little bit smaller than our Night of Navy card base. So I'm adding it to the left edge. All right, now when I made my sample card last night, I glued this layer down first and then I added my strip of pattern paper, and it was just a little bit off and it drove me bonkers. Yeah, Jennifer, I know Red Deer is so close to you. When I come and visit my in-laws, we should get together for a coffee and a craft. That would be, I would really like that actually. I'll let you know when I'm back in Alberta. Definitely sometime in 2026, because Kai and I drove out for spring break last year, or spring break 2025. So we haven't been back to Alberta since March of 2025. Yeah, so we'll be due. All right, so our last strip is 3¼ by 4, and I am going to add this to the bottom of the inside of the basic white tent fold card base. And then perhaps a little bit of stamping. Actually, it doesn't matter. I can stamp it now or I can glue it to the card. It doesn't really matter, because if I make a mistake, I'm still gluing this down. I'm still gluing it down. Yeah, Jennifer, it would be fun. I will let you know. I will let you know. Okay, so I've got, for my ink tonight, I've got Night of Navy and Balmy Blue. And in that paper pumpkin, there's this nice chunky miss you sentiment. It's just nice thick letters. I like that. So that's going to be for that circle die. And then, I don't know if you can see this, there's a little bit of a sprig. What else? They're all tucked away in my basket over here. Then I've got some leaves. And is that it? Oh, one more. And then another sentiment that says so much. So for the outside of the card, on the circle die, I'm going to stamp miss you, and then the inside I'll put so much. And then I'm just going to add some, just a little bit of stamping on the inside and the circle die, just to give it a little bit more visual excitement. If I can say that, if I can dare call a card visually exciting. I just don't want it to be boring. So sentiments in Night of Navy. Now this is a danger color for me because it's dark and I smudge. So the stamp, and then just set that aside for a quick second. And then for the inside, I'm going to ink up the next bit of my sentiment that says so much. And I'm just going to add that right in the middle-ish, like so. All right, let that sit for a second. Very carefully close up my Night of Navy ink pad. Very carefully, because, and check my fingers, right? Check my fingers. Now, Balmy Blue. And I'm just going to add a little bit of, I'm just going to frame some of the leaves around that miss you sentiment. And I'm going to be adding some die cut floral images. So some of it's going to be covered. I'm still going to stamp some just around the edges anyway. And then while I have this stamp going, I think I'm going to add a little leaf. right in the top left corner of the inside layer, like so. Maybe one more. It's very pretty. All right, there we go. Now I have just this little sprig stamp. I was going to do an embalmy blue, but I'm feeling wild and crazy and dangerous and cracking out the dark night of navy again. All right, so I have got, I don't know how I did it, but a smudge has happened, so that probably means I'm okay for the rest of the card, right? Hello, Janice. Nice to see you. All right, I'm just going to add a little bit of the little sprig stamp just in some of that empty space. It's just very tiny. Just adds just a little tiny bit. All right, that's good. All right, stamping is done. All right, finger check. Yeah, I'm good. I think I'm good. Okay, so now we've got this tentfold card base, a little bit smaller than our Night of Navy card base. Flip it over, add a little bit of glue to the very back side, and then we're going to glue this down right on the inside of our Night of Navy card base. Yeah, Janice, you are just in time for the smudge. Good timing, buddy. Good timing. All right, here we go. Just lining this up. I want to make sure that my designer series paper strip that's on the basic white is lined up with the top and bottom of the other two strips because I want everything to be like symmetrical, I guess, right? All right, so here's the inside of the card. And now, last but not least, we're going to take these two frame dies and then start layering these up. So I will pop up some of the die cut flowers and the sentiment piece onto the frame dies. So I'm just going to layer these two together with glue. So I'm going to layer them flat and then I'll pop up the other pieces. So if this is too dark, you could certainly switch up that smaller piece for a lighter blue if you like that contrast better than the same colors together. That's totally an option. Yes, Leanne, I did earn my nickname Smudgy. Okay, now dimensionals. I'm going to flip some on the back of the circle. I am not going to put the dimensionals right on the edge because I have some flowers and leaves that I am going to be tucking in, and if I do it just right, I won't have to snip anything. All right, so this popped up right here. Then we're going to add this to the front panel of the card. So I'm just going to be gluing down not quite half of this panel. So I'm going to flip it over, make sure you've got it. When you flip it over, just make sure you're putting glue on the right side. So I do not want glue on the right side, I want glue on the left side. So when I flip it over, it's backwards. I'm actually adding glue to the right. You know what I mean? So glue on the left side when you're looking at it, but when you flip it over, now you're actually adding glue to the right side. And I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the edges, but not quite halfway. Not quite. All right, that's good enough. To be safe, I'm going to flip it over so I don't end up accidentally gluing it on itself. And I'm just going to line it up so it looks like I've got it in the middle and it's fairly straight. And then I can just double check it before I press down and commit to the glue. Yeah, that looks good. All right, now I'm just going to add a little bit of pressure. I like to call this activating my Tombow. All right, there we go. Looks like so. Oh, I am maybe just a smidge crooked. Too late, I activated the Tombow. There's nothing I can do about it now. It's happened. All right, so now I've got all these pieces cut out from the Abundant Joy die set. And I'm just going to add them. Yes, I know some of these leaves are Night of Navy. It's more Night of Navy on Night of Navy. I don't know what's gotten into me. I kind of like it. All right, I thought I had 3 Night of Navy leaves, but I do not. However, I've got so much stuff put away in the spare room that it's just going to have to do. It's going to have to do. All right, so I'm just kind of figuring out where I want to put my leaves and my extra pieces. So I know that I want to tuck these leaves and the other, see, I find this hard to call these leaves. They just, I don't know, they don't really look like leaves to me. But I cut them out. They're going to act like leaves, whether they're leaves or not. So I'm just arranging them where I think I want them. I'm going to glue them down flat, and then these flowers are going to get popped up. All right, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready to commit. So I'm going to start with these less leafy looking leaves. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue if my glue behaves. My glue better behave because everything else is packed up. I don't even have glue dots handy. It's the spare room is extremely clean right now. It's very strange. All right, I'm just going to tuck this under and then press down on the glue bits. And then this one, I'm just going to make sure that I don't put glue on the very, very top because it's going to overhang just a little bit. Now, I'm not getting too particular with the glue, just a little bit to keep it stuck down. A little actually goes a long way, even though I am typically pretty glue heavy. I like glue and dimensionals, what can I say? All right. One more. I'm going to pop that leaf. Well, I'm not popping it up, but I am going to glue this leaf right on top of these other 2 pieces. And then we'll do the bottom corner. And then my favorite part is actually adding the flowers. All right, there's one. Now I'm just going to tuck these guys in right here. It feels a little not quite enough since I'm missing one little die cut, but maybe when I get all the flowers on, I won't even notice. And I can always add one after the fact if it drives me crazy. All right, Shelly says she loves navy blue. Well, I'm glad you love navy blue because this card is definitely navy. Oh no, I've got a little bit of glue mess up happening here. All right. I don't even think I have my take your pick candy. I don't even know where I left it last night. See, I put everything away. No, that's going to bug me. You know what? Before I go to bed tonight, I am going to find where exactly I left my take your pick tool because at some point I'm going to want it, especially when I put together my paper pumpkin. It's just so handy. I was all proud of myself for cleaning up this spare room, and now I'm mad. I'm mad at myself because I don't know where my take your pick is. All right, I know I'll find it. Okay, so all the little leaves pieces are glued down. Now I've got 2 basic white flowers and 3 of the balmy blue. I'm just going to pop these up at the bottom and top edges of the card. Just wherever they fit without blocking that sentiment piece. And I think I've got mini dimensionals for this job. I'm just going to add a little dimensional right there for one of my blue flowers and a little dab of glue right on that sentiment circle. Now, don't worry. I know this is going to fit because I did this yesterday. Otherwise, I would double check before I put down a dimensional and a dab of glue just to make sure that my flower is going to be wide enough to pick up on those pieces. All right, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to add a dimensional right on the corner there and a little tiny bit of glue on the edge of that sentiment piece. And then I'm going to cover that up with a white flower. All right, now bottom. All right, I've got 3 flowers left, and I am going to, I'm going to add these right to the bottom. Same thing, I'll put the white in the middle, and then I'm just going to frame that little white flower with the blue ones. Now, if you want, I'm just thinking, some gems would look really pretty in the middle of the flowers, so that might have to happen on this card. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Susan. All right, where am I? Okay, I'm going to add 2 blue flowers, and you know what else would look good is maybe a little bit of Wink Stella. So, whoops, I almost lost my glue. I was just going to say I'm going to add Wink Stella, but wherever my take your pick tool is probably exactly where my Wink Stella is. So never mind. There won't be Wink Stella tonight, but I'm pretty sure I've got some gems still. Okay. Last flower. I might have to go back over this and add some Wink Stella magic when I find all my things. Okay. There we go. Last flower. And very sure I've got some basic rhinestone gems that I'm going to use on this. So here it is, as I was planning, but now I'm just going to step it up a notch and add some gems, I think. Right in the, oh my gosh. I have to pick up these with my scissors because I don't have my take your pick. I don't have my take your pick tool. All right, I know I won't be able to do it with my fingers. They're too tiny. They're too tiny. Turns out scissors work okay. Thank you, Nancy. I'm glad you like the card. I know, Janice. No Wink Stella. It is a tragedy. It's somewhere. I just can't think of where I put all those essentials yesterday when I cleaned off my desk. I did get some really nice fake wood, kind of like sticky wallpaper, to give my craft desk a makeover before January 1st. It's in like a nice neutral shade of fake wood sticky wallpaper that I'm going to cover my craft desk with, and it's going to look brand new when I'm done. All right, at least I know where I put that when I cleaned up my craft room. All right, here is our fun fold tonight. Pretty simple, friends, pretty simple. Comes together really quickly. And this is the sample that I made last night. Maybe that, you know what? That's exactly where my extra Night of Navy leaves went. It's in my sample card. All right, so same, just no rhinestones. So if you tuned in, I think it was last Monday, we did another fun fold with this designer series paper that was really simple as well. Now, the one that I did on Monday, I fussy cut out a whole bunch of flowers and I glued them on. I actually have no idea what I did with that sample card. I was going to show you tonight, but it's somewhere in my mess of all the things. All right, Marion says she's feeling guilty with 7 kids, in-laws, and 8 grandkids. She should be getting ready for Christmas, but she's watching. She's watching her favorite card making show. Oh, Marion. Well, I'm glad you're watching your favorite card making show. So, don't feel guilty. Janice is right. Thank you, Donna. All right, that is it for tonight. I will be back. I'm not sure. Whenever I get my craft room back, I will be popping into my page. I'll be sharing some photos and things like that, and probably some reels, but I'm not sure when my next live will be. So I might be coming back the first Monday in January. Let me just look at the calendar. Yes, January 1st will be the first day that I'll have my craft space back. So I will try to plan something for the first, even though, well, yeah, let's do it. The first, it's a Thursday. All right, we're going to do it. And I will be starting, see if I have them. That'll be a Thursday. So I will be using, for Thursdays in January, the Valentine Kisses stamp set and dies. Now, I'm not saying they're going to all be Valentine cards because I don't necessarily need a whole bunch of Valentine cards, but they're going to be cute, all right? They're going to be cute cards, and obviously the bears are going to need some coloring, so that'll be that. And the reason I ended up, I wasn't going to get this, but the reason I did is this bear here, when you cut him out with the corresponding die, it cuts these little slits at the top of his arms and right underneath, so he can actually tuck in like the little teddy bear and the flowers, or the jar if you wanted to. And I just, when I seen that, I saw somebody make a card with that bear. He's holding the teddy bear. It was like, all right, add to cart, because that's really cute. So that's how quick it happens for me. Somebody makes something cute, and I say I'm not going to get it, and then it's in my cart. January 1st will be Jeanette's birthday. Okay, wow. Yes, Kate, I will see you in the new year. Merry Christmas, Marianne. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I will still be popping in live for 2 more days with the Advent calendar unboxing, but I don't really plan that. I just pop in whenever I can. So I don't know where I'll pop in tomorrow. I'll have to find a new space. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I will be uploading this video to YouTube. If you're catching it on a YouTube replay, the measurements for this card are going to be in the video description. And then in about 20 minutes or so, I'll post a picture of tonight's project on my Facebook page with the measurements, so you don't have to search around for it. And if you've made something like this, I would love to see it in the comments. All right. Thank you, Robin. You have a good Christmas too. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Whether you caught me live or you're catching me on a replay, I wish everybody a very lovely holiday season, and I will see everybody soon. Bye for now.